Kia ora koutou, haere mai o tō tahi. Hello everyone and welcome to Christchurch for the 2023 New Zealand Ultimate Championships Division 1. We've got an exciting matchup here today. We've got Auckland versus Dunedin. My name is Kelsey Bielik.
My name is Rachel Siahani Royal.
And we're here today, we're your eyes and ears on the ground as we watch this matchup between Auckland Misfits versus Dunedin WOOF. What are you excited to see today, Rachel?
I'm excited to see some big throws. This wind has been picking up over the course of the day, and so I'm expecting to see some downwind, upwind. We've got the wind currently coming from the right-hand side of the field to the left-hand side, but it's been very swirly, so it may change over the course of the game.
So we see WOOF, Dunedin, they're in the light color here. Starting off on defense, we're seeing person defense, which makes sense with the downwinds that they're defending against. But as Rachel just mentioned, conditions sunny, warm, but yeah, windy conditions have picked up a bit. So we might see a few zoney options later in the game on defense.
Yeah, I would expect that to pop up later on. We've got two relatively young teams, Misfits in the dark strip. They've got a large number of under 20s and under 24 players. U24s is coming up in a couple months' time. So we've got a turnover now, a slight overthrow there.
Soper, who's normally playing, she's from the Wellington region, a veteran with lots of experience in the handler space, picking up with the Misfits, providing a bit more experience and depth to their roster. No doubt a welcome pickup, also to provide guidance and mentorship. Misfits, a young team with a lot of energy. We're likely to see a lot of athleticism from across the team, as well as Zaria Ireland, who's running around. She's in the brown cap there, number 99. We've also got Dunedin matching up competently against that, a rather young team.
Also a young team, yes. A lot of U24 players there, so we're going to be expecting some connections that they've trained in during their campaign. We've got Altenberg Carey, who's their captain, working down the field. So player with the disc now, Kat Gregory, she's one of their older players, providing experience just as Soper was for the Misfits.
And Dunedin pick on the field, which you can see, both arms up, sun's out, guns out, but they're also indicating pick. So in ultimate Frisbee, a non-contact sport, if a defensive player doesn't need to run through other people, if there could be contact or if there is contact in playing defense, a pick is called.
And we see the disc, I think, being called out was the sign. So it was caught, despite the pick being called. However, she caught outside of the field. It is a turnover, so now we have Misfits with the disc. Soper with the disc, known for her huge throws. She loves to put it long into the end zone.
As I was saying, WOOF, the Dunedin women's team, also a young team. They're in their second season and haven't had as much time this season to practice together. So really relying on today. Again, this is a 3-day tournament, Division 1, today and these first few games to really gel as a team and bring that energy together.
So you see Laguna walking the disc up now to where it went out of the field. It looks like it never came back in. So WOOF is now getting some further yards up the field.
Looking immediately engaging that dump. So she's on the downwind side of the field, choosing instead to throw down, centering it, of course, to give a bit more space. It can be difficult when the wind is pushing against you to try to make that movement down. They're really pushing it down the sideline here, which is what Misfits is trying to force.
And with the wind blowing towards the far sideline, it can be a lot easier for the disc to end up floating out. And we see...
Launched towards the end zone. Incredible defensive play there.
A great grab under pressure from Gregory there. Eyes only for the disc through that defensive play.
Safe into the hands. Great first points for Misfits. For WOOF. Thanks, Rachel. On the board, closing out the first points. High fives all around on the team. Let's see that again. Beautiful catch and assisted. I mean, shout out to the defensive play there, putting it all out on the line.
Absolutely. So I believe that's a break then, if I recall correctly.
An exciting,
point.
First point of the game. So when you're starting off on defense, it's the defensive line's job to initiate that turnover. But when you're putting your offensive line on the field, of course, your goal is to score every offensive point. So very exciting to start the game with a break, indicating strong defense. Of course, in ultimate Frisbee, I like to say the wind is always that notorious swilly 8th player, 3rd team on the field. Fortunately not taking sides for one team or another, but can be frustrating on offense.
But we've seen lots of confident throws from both teams during that first point. Like no one's really struggling with this wind, so we're looking. Hopefully, we'll see players warming up to the conditions, but they're both starting strong.
We've got Ireland and Crosby with some give-goes, looking downfield. Cool to see those give-go passes, though. Wind just bobbling that disc up, making the catch just a bit more difficult.
And we've got Leg to pick up the disc at the moment.
Now, Leg, a player with a wealth of experience. She's done a lot of coaching as well, which is very cool. She previously played and has helped with Misfits as one of those mentoring players, and has switched over now. She's based in Dunedin, so no doubt feeling excited to play against her old team and excited to be playing with WOOF as well. Great D from Soper. Just putting the wheels on, turning up the gas to run through and hit that down.
Showing the importance of always chasing that disc all the way down as you're trying to catch it, because your defender is going to be right on your tail. They've been some really nice inside movement here from these Misfit players. They're finding that lane towards their downfield receivers, keeping it up on the high side. You see Ireland not wanting to swing down to the low side if she doesn't have to.
So low side of the field, again, is where the wind is pushing. And defensively, if you can trap the disc, if you can push it down there, it's to your advantage, because it's much harder to throw upwind, of course, than it is downwind.
Now, WOOF have been doing a great job of being around the tails of their offenders, but I'd like to see them putting on a stronger mark. I think that there's been a lot of breaks going up here from Misfits, so throwing it to the high side of the field where the defense is trying to match.
And Misfits have responded with another point on the board. Interestingly, this is the high side of the field. As we've been discussing with the wind, pushing downwind, it tends to be a bit more difficult to play upwind. However, we're seeing some really great short passes, some good movement from both teams. Shout out to Ireland kind of running with the give and goes. They're always providing a second safe option for a small pass to reset the disc. Misfits on the board, score 1-1.
And you see Misfits not holding onto the disc for very long each throw, so they're looking to move that disc quickly and try and have the defense be on their heels, and it's working well for them during that point. You see the coach, we have their coach Ian Stewart on the field right now instructing them.
Ian Stewart been really involved. Shout out to the whole ultimate scene, the ultimate community here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, but also to growing women's ultimate in Auckland. Really a leader in that space and a leader helping to coach the Misfits as a team.
And Misfits have had a really good season so far. They came second at their qualifying tournament in Auckland, and also second at the Wellington Central qualifier. So they have had a strong season so far. Ian Stewart also coaching the U20s team, so familiar with a lot of those players in that space as well.
You know, really exciting, Rachel, to see Wahine Toa, strong women, strong girls really coming up and that community growing. And a team like Misfits, which is so young, really competing and stepping up at these levels. They came hot off of a first game. They've won their last game against Ellipsis. We see Abby Liddell launching a rocket downfield. Oh, love the action.
Gregory with another grab.
Yeah.
Faking the scooper out.
Oh, what beautiful movement, clean in the end zone. What an exciting point. You know, I think, Liddell just opening up the field with that upwind huck. So good to see. High fives all around. Love the energy of that point. And another upwinder.
Another one, yes. Yeah, so point. So WOOF really conserving their energy on the offensive point. So hoping to be able to instead use that energy to apply the defensive pressure at this point.
Now, interestingly, as I was mentioning, Ellipsis, we're lucky to have a team over from Australia to add into the mix, to provide some more competition at the Division 1 level. And Misfits went up against Ellipsis in their first game, and WOOF, Dunedin here, went down against Ellipsis. So great matchup here. Really cool to see this team, these two teams going point for point right now. Really exciting. But as I was saying, Misfits, no doubt, really riding this high, having done so well over the course of the season. So well, just opening this tournament today on Friday. And exciting to see what they'll be up to over the rest of the tournament. These strong upcoming players really gelling as a team with good guidance and leadership. And yeah.
Hard work, working really hard out there.
Yeah,
Lots
absolutely.
of running around. See see Misfits receiving the disc at the downwind end of the field.
Now, downwind throws tend to drop with the wind. It's a bit easier to get more length on the throw, but they tend to drop a bit faster.
And we see a zone now, zone defense from WOOF. So they're looking to, and it's a high disc, securely taken by Soper. Soper, no stranger to playing against a zone.
I think zone is her happy place.
I imagine so. She really knows how to move those players who are matching her up the front of the zone.
So the zone here is really Dunedin trying to put pressure around the throws. They're offering some open options for the players, open options for offense, which we can see Misfits really taking advantage of. However, in offering those open shots, you're also putting pressure on the throws. The more throws you put up, obviously,
especially in this wind as well.
Yeah, more likely you are to make a mistake. And wind, taking its toll right there with the easy, just the bobble, making things just a bit more difficult. So Dunedin zone really playing off, like picking up the disc.
And we have Misfits are playing match, high disc to Altenberg carry. Slight misread and it ends up in the Misfits' hands again, but that's a hard throw.
Great upwind attempt, great swing, but the wind again taking its toll.
So it sounds like match is being called by WOOF now, so they're trying to pick up their players, and we have another quick turn on that on the far side of the field where that disc is once again dropped out from the hands of the receiver.
With Macaulay Scott picking up the disc. Now, Macaulay Scott, great player. Interestingly, she's studying to be a physio right now and committing to the team. Supposed to be on placement, but committing to the team, committing to the tournament to help out.
So skipped out on her placement this morning.
Yeah, so we're excited to see her here performing.
With her work's permission, of course.
Of course.
Oh, we see an attempt at a grab there, but a little low for that WOOF player. Soper to pick up the disc. She wants quick movement. Looking early for Zaria, Ireland.
Ireland wanting that deep puck, really wanting to put it deep, but waiting for that option to open up. Nice low pass to Ireland in the end zone, seeing it into her hands, and that's another point for Misfits, just trading at this point.
Upwind trades. Seems like these throwers are really enjoying that wind.
Absolutely. We are seeing, of course, the wind a bit more on the downside of the field. So let's see that replay once again. Points tending to happen in the far corner of the end zone, which is where the wind is pushing them.
So we see Zaria throwing, passing the disc and then immediately wanting it back again. Zaria, previously a sprinter, I believe, so she's brought some of that knowledge and fitness into playing Ultimate and known for being very fast in the field.
Fast on the fields, high in the air, solid player all around.
Big sphere of influence on the field.
Definitely.
Able to direct on offense and also be everywhere on defense.
Now we'll see. I'm curious. We've got WOOF coming out on offense here, but I'm curious to see what more zones we might be seeing. So WOOF came out with a zone earlier. I'd like to see how that develops more because it was placing a lot of pressure on the throws. As we also mentioned, as Rachel mentioned, we saw Soper, an experienced handler and definitely in her element, loves to see a zone, loves to kind of unlock that and crack that, figure out the solution and what to do. So I'm curious to see what more zones they might have in their back pockets, how that's going to pressure throws. Disc going out of bounds.
We're about to find out whether Liddell had touched that disc before it went out the back, so that'll change where the disc comes back onto the field. So it looks like she hadn't touched the, she had touched the disc, so WOOF is in a dangerous spot at the moment.
There is. So we're hearing some shouts from the sideline. This is Callahan country here. No doubt a player supporting Misfits from Auckland. Now, what's a Callahan, Rachel?
Callahan is when the offensive team is in their own end zone. They make a pass, and it is caught by the defensive team, which means that it's a point.
A defensive point,
Defensive point. So it's a quick way to finish a point.
To finish a point, yeah. Liddell, no stranger to that risk, understanding that risk and just launching it, trying to gain territory and push it out of the end zone.
Ooh, and we have a little a missed clap catch there. It was a good shot from Ireland, though.
Lewis, hands on the face, kind of regretting what had happened. Liddell making the big fakes again. showing that she wants to clear it out, potentially gain a bit more territory.
This is our first look at the Misfits zone now. You see, have a lot of players around the disc, which is opening up the downfielders.
WOOF doing a great job at the moment of moving it quick. Oh, and a bobble disc again. Moving it quickly though, which is what you want to be doing in a zone. Of course, when you set, you allow the defense to set. When you hold the disc a little bit longer, it allows the defense to clamp down. So that nice flowing movement, the quick passes, the dynamics of zone offense can really help to unlock, to crack a zone. Classic vertical stack, undercut coming out, clean catch. A great break throw. Once again, we're seeing the first point here on the other end zone of the field.
That was Lewis throwing that shot. Great find in the top corner.
Unsurprising to see the wind continuing to push, the disc down to the far side of the field. It's always exciting as commentators here, Rachel, when the movement, when the game is happening closer to us, but you can't control the elements at the end of the day.
So WOOF is probably going to be wanting to protect that top corner a little more.
Really,
that is the most dangerous spot for them when they're on defense, to have that just a couple meters. It's all the offensive team needs to score. You want to protect that front cone.
I am excited, though, to see breakthrows, like the one just a few passes before there. Breakthrows, swinging the disc up the field, swinging to the high side, and kind of demonstrating the ability to, regardless of the elements, to move the Frisbee where you want on the field. Really important to have that on a team. Both teams, of course, definitely have the depth to be able to huck and move the disc where they'd like, regardless of the wind. I think it's a matter of developing that, unlocking that, bring in the energy, and with more zones, we might be seeing more of that as well.
And these players and these teams, despite being younger and newer clubs, they have had a lot of chances to play together. So, especially down in Dunedin, there's not as many players. So, WOOF really happy to be able to have a team there from Dunedin.
Crosby with a pull, Leg with a pickup. She's got the disc again. We're seeing Misfits with their zone. Soper's on the mark. And that upwind swing goes a bit too wide.
The right kind of idea, trying to swing it, but unfortunately the execution of that was too far for the receiver.
I love this matchup here. Soper and Leg. Two strong, experienced players. And an upwind forehand.
A really nice cut from the Misfits receiver there.
Great cut to the break side.
And that was thrown by Tessa Swinson.
Tessa Swinson with that beautiful low release forehand.
And good speed on the change of her grip there. So she was looking downfield and was able to really quickly release that throw.
Consequently, on the other side, that's something that WOOF could be considering. When points like that happen, you step back to the basics. You're looking at the mark. What happened there? How did they score the points? Being broken as a mark, never good. Always difficult, though, and that's as a thrower, it's always what you're looking for. Breaking from the inside, breaking from the around. Mark just a bit loose there and letting that throw go off.
Great release point from Swinson there, though. Knowing that she's throwing into the wind, so that she's releasing it lower like that allows her more control, and it means it's less likely to pop up and be defended instead.
Taking the score right now, Misfits to 4, WOOF to 2. Misfits up by a few breaks now. Not to say in the slightest that WOOF is taking their foot off the gas, that they're slowing down, very much still in this game. I'm really enjoying right now seeing the intensity matched by both sides, and I'm excited to see more, creativity, more big throws, more connections coming out of it.
Yes, we're still early stages of this game. A lot can still change, and teams are still feeling out each other about where their strengths are and where their weaknesses are.
Shout out also to ULTI.TV, who is setting this up, who's streaming everything. We're the voices, the eyes and the ears on the ground, but it's the crew and the staff that are making this all happen, the technical side of things. So shout out, if you're a fan of what you're seeing, if you like it, head to Patreon/ULTI.TV to support. Massive hug from Soper, and couldn't quite find that receiver in the end zone. Maybe the wind pushed it a bit too far.
I think she might have been looking into the sun as well, because it's that kind of glare today, and it looked like it almost may have hit her hands, but
I'm wondering if she read my mind, heard my words about the big shots that I was asking for, though. we're seeing Misfits with a loose zone, stopping more of those big options. Handler cuts crashing into that space. Look good. A high release backhand upwind.
So this is a very short field for Misfits now.
Yeah, challenging pass to complete.
And
as you called it, Rachel.
Yes. Just taking advantage of WOOF not quite being set up on their defense. That score was thrown by Clark there.
And we're seeing the players coming onto the field, doing a bit of a boogie. Love to see the whole team celebrating.
So shots like that are almost too good to be true sometimes when you're on the field, but
when you are,
they worked this time. So we see a timeout being called by WOOF, probably just wanting to stem the stop the bleeding a little bit. They've gone down a few breaks, wanting to reassess what they're doing on offense against the zone defense that they're facing.
Now, if you were, Rachel, coach, player, Abby Liddell with the team right now, if you were, a mentor, leader on the team, Bridget Legg, what might you be saying to your teammates? What would you be focusing on?
I think I'd be focusing on potentially slightly shorter throws. The Misfits have got a lot of players around the disc at the moment, and the WOOF downfielders, the receivers, they seem a little bit far back from me, so it's harder for the handlers to reach them there. They're having to slot it through quite a lot of the Misfits players to get to the receiver. So I'd want more movement from behind the disc, pushing forward through to try and push the handler defenders kind of a little bit wider. But that's just what I would do. I know other people are maybe potentially a bigger fan of longer hucks against the zone to try and instead pull the deep, make the deep work a little harder instead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a matter of what the handler's like. It's a matter of what the zone is giving you, right? I love they're shaking off the dust there. They're shaking it all off and they're bringing themselves into the moment. Such good team energy. They're feeling it. I think that's a really good point, though, because in a zone, we saw the Misfits Cup feeling a bit saggy there. They're off the mark, which allows for crashes. And as you were saying, allowing for people to come under, to do some quick pop passes, and to keep that stall count low, if at all there.
Mm-hmm. They do have those throws to, swing throws, dump throws, so throws behind or throws across the field. So they should really utilize that. And I think just going back to your basics, lots of snap, lots of flick with those, with your passes. The more snap, the more flick, the less likely they are to hit the ground.
Definitely. Also lower. We've been seeing quite a few low releases. One of the higher release backhands there characterized. The higher the disc is, the more likely it is to catch the wind. And the lower, the less windy it is lower to the ground.
You have to be more precise in this kind of weather. Some people really, I really enjoy a little bit of wind. It makes it, you have to work a little bit harder, but it also makes it more interesting. Sometimes you have to put more thought into what you're doing.
We've got Anna Crosby with the disc, number 12 with the Misfits, ready to launch it downfield. To reset after this timeout, it looks like WOOF really shaking off the cobwebs, getting into it. I love their positive energy coming into this point.
We see the pull landing out of field, so Legg has indicated she's going to take it up to the brick mark now.
What is a brick mark?
A brick mark is a position on the field that the play starts if the pull lands out like that. So it's about an end zone's length down the field in the middle.
I'm lucky you're here with me, Rachel, to explain these things.
Oof, and we see, I think that might have just been popped out of our hands.
WOOF here pointing to who they have on defense, really discussing that transition.
Very nice grab there from, I think that's Swinson again.
Great high take.
Oh.
We've got Crosby and Ireland here on the Misfits in the downfield, kind of commanding that space. Crosby with the upline strike cut. Looking to convert once again.
A great grab from, I believe that's Murgatroyd.
Murgatroyd, she's been running that midfield for the team. She's consistently an option. Something also potentially for WOOF to revisit on defense, to look at kind of who's getting touches on the discs, taking those informal stats in your mind and how you might want to be shutting down those players.
You see the players always moving on Misfits. Murgatroyd, she was constantly on the move, which makes it really hard to defend against because not only is it tiring, but you have to be able to anticipate where they're going, and she's doing an excellent job working in that middle space. Rewarded with the score. Leading
the score to 6-2 to Misfits. Coach Ian Stewart just talking through some of the finer details with the team there.
What do you think that, what advice is he giving them, Kelsey, do you think?
At this point, I would guess, Rachel, maybe discussing defense. I hazard to say potentially a zone. Who's going to be in the zone, what they'll be running. With a team like Misfits, as well drilled and practiced as they are, I wouldn't be surprised if they have multiple zones in their back pocket, which can be a great way to kind of get in the other team's minds, just challenge them in different ways, provide different puzzles, different strategies for them to figure out how to unlock offensively. We've got Ireland with a disc, launching it downfield, and we'll soon see if I'm correct in my zone prediction.
Also a consideration for zone. Oh, and unfortunately too high of a throw over the head.
And we won't know what was happening on defense. Misfits running down the field just to set up offensively immediately. Ireland.
And in is called. That was an almost unmarked receiver there.
I think that's a...
Is that Clark again? I think that's the second time she stood unmarked in the end zone.
So a prime example of, you know, really capitalizing, taking advantage of a quick transition. And something you can consider as well, controlling the controllables. What have you done, and how can you ensure that maybe bobbles or misfires are a one-time thing, they're not going to happen again. But coming down on defense, quickly transitioning to offense, and before the other team has a chance to set up, just running immediately, capitalizing that, making the point happen.
It's I believe, is that another timeout called? Looks like another timeout called. A chance to reassess. Now, it's been a big swing in the Misfits' favor at the moment, and it can be hard to get your head out from, keep your head up if you're playing on the WOOF team. They're very capable players, but sometimes it feels like you're facing an uphill battle. What in particular do you think helps you, Kelsey, if you're down a few points and you're trying to change your mindset?
You know, I think WOOF has been doing a really good job. They've been doing the best they can right now. I would channel a lot of what they're doing. Actually, research shows we're seeing them as a team, arms around each other. Touching your teammates leads to closer bonds and connections, leads to more successful plays and trust in the team. But also seeing them, making it their own game. They're focusing on themselves, not the other team. They're focusing on themselves, not the wins. They're focusing on what they can do. They're shaking off the cobwebs. They're doing a little dance. I left the heel click a few points ago in the end zone from WOOF. So I think trying to keep spirits high. Now, the second thing I would be looking for, or maybe trying to do, Rachel, is having one big play. And that just comes down to individuals on the team. But 1 point or one big play, one massive layout D, one really cool
brings
sky.
The energy back.
Brings the energy back, and really potentially, in my mind, waiting or trying to create that, or if one of your teammates does, just bringing the energy from there, really running onto the field, getting really loud on the sideline.
Yeah, capitalizing on that kind of on that kind of play and really using it to fuel your team.
Yeah. In the meantime, we've got Misfits doing really well. They're point after point. They're seeing where the cracks are, and they're jumping on that. The crack is the missed pass, the first pass of the game. So they're running down there, ready, already making the cut for the first point. So I think it's on them to keep the pressure on, to keep that going. We know in all sports, really, Ultimate Frisbee is no different. To change your energy to match that of the other team. Misfits, I think right now it's on them to continue really putting the pressure on as much as they can.
Yes, and I would expect more of a zone. Not only has it been working, but one consideration is we have a 3-day tournament. We're halfway through the first day. Playing a zone on defense can be an excellent way to conserve some energy, depending on what position you're playing. That would be something that, as a coach, I would be considering, because Misfits now have a bit of a point buffer. So if they're able to just score all of their offensive points, then the game is theirs. However, with these conditions, I suspect there will be more turns, and it won't just be as simple as scoring every offensive point.
Beautiful fields we're playing on, though. Beautiful facilities. Thank you, Ngā Puna Wai Sport Complex here in Otatahi, Christchurch, for providing this wonderful space for us to be commentating in, to be watching these fantastic athletes performing at the national level here in Aotearoa, New Zealand.
And I believe that must have been half from the looks of it. The scoreboard currently being attacked by the wind, so we're not able to quite see. It is halftime, so we've got a game to 13 here. So the 7 points, Misfits have taken half. So I would be, from WOOF, I would be expecting, I would like to see if they end up turning it on offense. I want them to see them picking up a little bit quicker on their defensive marks. I feel like they're just a couple steps behind. They need to switch on their defensive brain a little faster, and I think that would help them.
From your words to the field, Rachel, I was happy to see Soper launch a few rockets out there as I wanted to see some longer puts. So I'm sure we'll see. I'm sure they're hearing you. We'll see that on the field. Oh, another bobble with the hands there.
That is a tough go for Alguna.
Great downfield throw. I think Ireland added the snap that you were talking about, Rachel. She's trying to slice it through the wind. However, those lasers can be a bit more difficult to catch, also with the wind. Maybe cold fingers.
Cold fingers, weird movement of the disc in the wind. It's more unexpected. And they're working it over to the high side now, WOOF is. You see Liddell looking off her handler. Good patience from Altenberg Carey here.
I'm really liking this this movement that we're seeing WOOF develop. They've been unlucky with some of those easy drops, but it's really nice to see them. They're quite collected right now, waiting for the options to open up, and then taking that space when it's there.
You see the mass of the Misfits defenders in the middle here. I'd want to see a swing from the. Oh, we have a high disc.
So I think that was Liddell. She's looking to just open up the field. And I think WOOF did need that. They needed a throw to just open things up. As Rachel was mentioning with the black team, we saw that mass of black players of Misfits
in the middle of the field.
Kind of clogging the throws, where you need a throw to crack it open.
Yeah, you want to kind of move it, if you can swing it to the sides of the field, and from there, down the field where there's fewer defensive players, that could be useful. So we have WOOF getting another go at this. Good fakes from Altenberg Carey. They're just really having to wait for the right shot through the middle of this zone.
And we're seeing Misfits as well really stopping the high side, the passes to the high side of the field. Consistently right now, that's 2 possessions in a row where they've been successful with that.
We have Murgatroyd picking up the disc there.
To yet unlock this zone. Ireland waiting for the options.
And again, quick movement with the disc by Misfits.
Finding that open pass in the middle of the field.
So that turnover by WOOF, I think it was another higher released throw. So again, I want them to work a little bit more on trying not to tempt that the wind with the disc there. You want to really just control the height of your release.
You know, another good thing to think about, though, oftentimes when turnovers happen, obviously we're trying to prevent turnovers, especially when you're on offense. You're trying to maintain possession of the disc. You're trying to make the safest passes to maintain possession. At the same time, when a turnover does happen, it's uplifting to see them making the right decisions with these turnovers. They're pushing their boundaries, and they're trying to move the disc to spaces where I think it should be going. And when it's execution, that's the issue. The decision is there. It's the right decision to make. They're doing their best, and execution just means it's back to the drawing board and working on those basics, which is something that, you know, is easier to do as opposed to having to question the decisions you're making and why you make them.
And the WOOF receivers are in some good spots on the field as well, so they've
we're
got the makings of being able to break that zone.
Launching it downfield. We'll see WOOF taking another crack at the zone.
Beautiful break from leg.
Slicing it, yeah, through that zone there. We see Soper on the mark, taking away the high side, so they're forcing to the low side of the field where it's difficult to move it back up.
And we've got back to leg in the middle, leg who's a lefty, so potentially able to surprise her mark a little bit more.
And this quick movement that we weren't seeing quite so much last point. WOOF right now moving the disc a bit faster, finding those open options.
Oh, and just touching that disc there from Misfits.
Always difficult to see as a handler when you've moved the disc half the field at that point. They were doing such a good job, and when it's just that little turnover, Misfits capitalizing with the bomb. What a layout!
An excellent layout there to keep the disc off the ground from Clark.
Oh, denied with that end zone play. Looks like it's a foul called. No contest, making it a point. Love the handshake at the end there, showing not implied. Props to that layout, though. Hannah Clark getting huge.
Eyes only for the disc there. Really focused on receiving that long shot from Soper.
Soper out here just trying to make her teammates look good. We can see a smile on her face. I think she's feeling a bit bad. She could have put it in better space for her. That even looks like a high
about? It got hot. It was caught.
It was caught. It was a beautiful catch. And interestingly with that throw, Soper adding a bit, she's throwing it up, she leaned back a bit, which is helpful again when throwing downwind because the Frisbee tends to drop, so she's adding more space underneath it, makes it easier to run onto. If the wind is going to be pushing it down anyway, if it's higher in the air, it's going to be coming down a bit more slowly. So good execution on the throw there as well.
And hopefully good execution on that layout. You always need to be careful that you're not injuring yourself in pursuit of the disc. You can get cases of people getting concussions when they're laying out or whiplash. So hopefully she's feeling good after that.
And we have Anna Crosby. Seems to be one of the main pullers for Misfits. She's been sending some bombs upfield. She's got the disc in her hands once again. Bit of a stronger headwind coming at her.
Crosby, an experienced handler playing for the New Zealand women's team. Very experienced handler. So we see Alaguna picking up the disc now. Another zone, it looks like, from Misfits.
And you know, at this point, when you're running defense and when your zone is really working, they like to say, if it's broke, don't fix it. You keep it going, and it makes sense to keep that going until the other team has cracked it, until they've unlocked it.
So we see 3 players up the front of this zone, and then you have Ireland in this little, in the spot in the middle, trying to potentially stop anything that's just over the top of those players up the front.
She's roaming a bit, isn't she?
Looking for a bit of a poach, potentially. Oh, and a nice break from Liddell. Beautiful break from Liddell, but just out of the hands of Altenberg-Carey.
But that teamwork and that reaction is so good to see. Liddell just brushing it off. She says, don't worry. She's pointing at the player she has on defense. You know, there's still trust, and there's trust in that. You know, don't worry about that. Next time, that catch is going to be there. And in the meantime, matching up on defense right away to prevent any quick transitions from happening. Ireland, nonetheless, on top of the disc. Another great layout, just keeping the disc alive. I'm loving this energy the Misfits are bringing to the field. Practice.
And that is a score for Misfits again.
I feel like deja vu at this point with Ireland in the corner there. Bringing the score to 9-2. 9 to Misfits, 2 to WOOF.
Lots of points being scored in this low side, so the far upper corner on our screen. Lots of points being scored there. Misfits really making that lane work for them. Ireland securing that disc easily. She's got a bit of space around her. And we see that bid again. It's a great bid from 38, I believe. Swinson. Not Swinson. Unsure of the thrower, but it was a great score nonetheless.
And this is a great experience also for 2 relatively young teams, relatively new teams on the scene here, but especially for WOOF in their 2nd season, sending a team to the national championships. What an experience, especially Div 1 national championships, to be up against, you know, the top players across the country. There's an immense amount of growth for especially the younger, newer players on the team to be coming together, playing as a team, but also growing. This is when it all happens. This is, you know, why you realize why you go to trainings and practice, why you're going to league, why you're going to fun tournaments is for this, and this is where that growth happens.
Unfortunately, WOOF not being able to have many trainings due to a lot of players being away over the uni summer holidays, but still working hard, just not being able to train together. And they are facing another zone. I believe it's the same zone.
Oh, what a throw, that vision.
Liddell able to just really quickly release that disc. It's not necessarily about the speed of the throw, it's about the speed of the execution.
I love this! What?
And another layout from Gregory. Not the first time.
Amazing! Faking the scuba. Oh, can she get there?
Oh, and Gregory's hands on heads from that throw.
You know what? I'm here for that series of events, though.
We have a huge look from Crosby. Just saying to our player, go and get it. Go and run for it.
Amy Holder there, down with WOOF, couldn't quite reel it in, laying it out on the line nonetheless.
WOOF with another upwind chance here. We've got Liddell to pick up the disc. They've been doing a better job against this zone. They're moving the players around, and they're...
So it looks like a bit of confusion there, where Liddell was intending to walk the disc up the line, so when the Frisbee lands in the end zone, aside from the pull, you can walk it up to the front of the end zone, where the defensive player there thought she was establishing her pivot foot. Quick turnover and gives Misfits another chance right in the end zone.
And good pickups right now. There seems to be an open player on Misfits that's unmarked. But it looks like WOOF have figured it out.
Ireland looking for that upwind swing. What a clean throw. Crosby back to Ireland. Swinging, just opening up the field there. Those critical upwind throws. There's pressure on the defense, but they managed to find once again.
Murgatroyd, another score for her. That is, she's been open in the end zone quite a few times.
She's got such great vision. She's able to find these sneaky spots. That's one thing that's been so cool to see, really, with Misfits, is how their players are really finding those open spaces. You know, they're not requiring the most insane throws. They're not requiring these massive displays of athleticism. Instead, they're finding the easy option. They're finding that space. They're playing intelligently. They're playing, you know, with their wits about them, finding that space and just giving that simple, small pass to score the point.
Keep the receivers downfield are really aware of the throwers and the handlers, and having that awareness and being able to be thrown to at any point in time can be really valuable when you're a handler and you're looking downfield. There's nothing, it's not a great feeling when you see a player completely open and they're just not looking at you.
It's a bit discouraging. I also want to, you know, definitely give props, give a nod to WOOF on defense there, especially with hand on the disc. You know, Zaria Ireland got there first, but they're really putting the pressure in the end zone. And that's, I think, potentially the most challenging thing to defend, is when players they're quick on their feet and they're finding those sneaky open spaces, but nonetheless keeping that pressure on defense. So big ups to WOOF for keeping that intensity and pressure going. Ireland with the pull.
We see it just rolling back a little bit, although that far side is a good space to, when you're trying to defend. However, we're only about halfway up the field.
A bit of a scary space to be in, potentially, as a handler needing to make that upline option.
And a foul called. It looked like there was just intercepted leg trying to receive that pop pass from the handler.
Let's catch that again. And what do you guys think? Like coming in for the crash.
And that's a great attempt at a defensive play there from number 8, from Clark.
So no contest. What an inside-out pass, just breaking through that zone, and couldn't get there in time. The wind popped it up a little bit, but Leg really throwing the arsenal of throws she has in the back pocket. Ireland coming out here matching that as well with a forehand break.
And a beautiful shot into space.
Oh, beautiful.
Right on the back cone, not even needing to check her feet.
You can't ask for a better throw as a receiver, can you?
No, but plenty of time to run onto that.
I love the connection of throws leading up to that. We'll see that again here. Moving to the break side, these clean sweeping passes.
So much space downfield, throwing it in front of your player to run onto.
And you know what? This is the reason that first break throw can open up a range of options downfield.
And importantly, she had another receiver ready to go, so she can look downfield. Lewis saw someone straight away. Great flow there, really great flow.
So especially when you're a handler, or when you're marking a handler, you want to be stopping the break throw for a variety of reasons. We do know, of course, that the defense are on the opposite side downfield. As the mark, you are 50% of the defense, essentially. But once that break happens, it means that all players are out of position downfield, and you just open up the break side. This is a textbook example with great execution, beautiful sweeping throws of why the break side can be so effective once you've opened that up, and how that can lead to a beautiful point such as we just saw.
And those shots were really nicely placed on the far side of the receiver. So it means that the defender, even if they're fast enough to catch up that distance, they have to be able to run. They have to run around the receiver in order to even get near the disc. So it's a lovely pass.
Now we're seeing in the back here, Groot, one of the Auckland men's clubs, the Opens clubs, warming up for the next game. No doubt also on the sidelines supporting the women's team from Auckland. And we've got another zone from Misfits. Again, if it ain't broke, why fix it? It's providing a lot of pressure. I've really been enjoying the creativity. Lag with a great catch there. The creativity we've seen, just opening it up. Sweeping shots downfield. Oh, trips over her legs, but
just out of her just missed time on the jump there. But
again, impressive that they're making the options that will be there, you know, next season, maybe tomorrow. That these missed throws, the turnovers, are good options that they're taking.
We see Crosby looking for, gesturing downfield, wanting a specific space to open up. Great snag.
Morgan's right, she's everywhere.
Some really confident fakes here. It seems like they have been doing a lot of
so it sounds like a high stall. Liddell indicating that it was a high stall there. Great catch, reeling it in the end zone. Unfortunately,
there's a stall
as
on
there
the
was a
throw.
stall on the throw, the disc will be sent back.
See the players on the field repeating that hand signal.
So of course, when you have the disc, when you're hearing those high stall numbers, the thrower there did a great job. She was looking break. She was looking for the resets.
It looks like it's retracted, so that is going to count as the score for Misfits.
Great catch in the end zone, then stands reeling it back in. But when you hear the high stall count, when you're hearing the 8-9, and you've looked reset, nobody's there, you know, that's all you can ask for. That's all you can do as the thrower.
And she had two receivers in the end zone there. They almost had to fight over that disc.
All right, any final parting thoughts, Rachel?
Well, what started out as a pretty even game, Misfits just ran away. I think WOOF said that they had a tough first game against Ellipsis. I think that they came out firing, and I think they just got heads down a little bit and didn't quite figure out how to break that zone. So maybe they can just go ahead and discuss that amongst themselves and figure out what would be useful. They could even have a look at the stream. That'd help them out. Watch their game back.
Yeah, definitely some great opportunities, great nuggets to take back for growth. I think for both teams, thank you so much for joining us for this game number 3 that we've streamed today between Misfits and WOOF. Big congrats to Misfits, and we'll see you soon for the next one. I'm Kelsey Bielik.
I'm Rachel Siahani Royal.
And we'll see you soon.
ULTI.TV.